Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke of not just India-China relations country to country, but also relations between state to state, province to province and mayor to mayor. And Rahul Kanwal, Headlines Today's managing editor, just spoke to Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis on the big train link that's being talked about between Delhi and Nagpur. Also about how Maharashtra intends to link up with China. Let's listen in.
You know, we keep talking about how we want to make Mumbai like Shanghai. After spending a week over here, it seems that that's a distant dream. There's no comparison between Mumbai and Shanghai.
See, who wants to make Mumbai Shanghai? I don't want to make Mumbai Shanghai. Mumbai has its own existence. It has its own culture. I want to make Mumbai Mumbai. But yes, there are certain learnings from Shanghai which I want to take back so that we create good infrastructure in Mumbai. We make it more smart. And that's what I'm looking forward. So tomorrow I'm also visiting one of the provinces, Qingdao, which has created a big trans-harbour link, 26 miles link in just 4 years. So I'm trying to take that technology to Mumbai so that we can create the trans-harbour link from Mumbai to New Mumbai in shortest span. So I feel that we have our own culture, we have our own existence, but we can take technology from China. And after deliberating with the Chinese people, I feel that they are also very keen to come to India, to invest into India, because I think that with a lot of surplus and a lot of reserves, right now they are looking India as a potential market.
One of the big focuses of the Prime Minister's visit has been developing state to state and city to city cooperation, sister relationships. You've been pivotal in trying to push that through. Is this just fancy nomenclature? What does it translate into in reality?
No, I totally agree with our Prime Minister. Our Prime Minister says that India lives in states, and that's right. See, right now, up till now, the bilateral ties were only between the nations, and they never translated into the states. And now in India, you can see cooperative federalism, at the same time competitive federalism. States want to perform. State wants more and more investment. State want to collaborate with the nations. And with this forum which our Prime Minister Modi has created, I think that we are directly interacting with the provinces in China. I went to Henin yesterday, and the governor of Henin, he actually offered me a sister relationship with Maharashtra. And
what does that mean? It sounds fancy, but what does it mean?
It's not fancy. It's a collaboration. They have created entire airport area zone where, with the location of their airport, they have developed an industrial zone which is under the influence of airport area, and that airport is a centrally located airport in China. Same way we can develop it at Mihan in Nagpur, because Nagpur is centrally located. We can adopt the same model for the new Mumbai airport. So there are learnings, and they are keen not only to share their learnings, but also to invest, but also to collaborate.
But the Chinese we've been speaking to are very unhappy with, for example, the slow speed of the Pune industrial park that they wanted to create. They told us that in 19 days we were able to build a skyscraper in Beijing. In about a year, you haven't been able to give them land to get started.
For your kind information, here, the Chinese company came to us 3 days back. To start their operations, they wanted a mega project status, and in 24 hours we gave them mega project status. So I don't know, why do you speak only to disgruntled Chinese?
No, but what about the industrial park in Pune?
There are so many Chinese who are very satisfied. Today in the evening, I'm meeting Becky Photon president, with whom we are creating the entire industrial park on 1,000 hectares. The land is aggregated, and today there will be a step forward wherein we'll actually talk about the investment.
So Devendra Fadnavis, they're talking about investment, sister cities. Bharat Karnad, is this a step forward as far as state to state, city to city relations are concerned?
No, I think it's sort of an innovation, I think, in policy that they've gotten from the federal level to the grassroots state provincial level. And I think this essentially reflects both President Xi's and Prime Minister Modi's provincial roots and their fields of success. And that's where they, emerged from. And I think that's a very good thing to happen, because then you bring in more than just the federal government into the picture. Here you have the interlinkages between cities, between states, maybe even lower down. And so I think this is a very good thing to happen. But the caveat here is, it's not going to change the Chinese attitude on the most important issues. Meaning that even if you have these linkages, and even if our economic links grow and we cooperate and everybody is very happy and mutually benefited, all these things will still not lead to any concessions by China on, say, the border resolution,
okay,
or on Tibet, or on the staple visas,
okay,
or on any of the other things that are really.
Do you agree, Leela Ponappa, that while you may have an economy that's interlinked, while China may invest, whether it's in smart cities or high-speed trains or other infrastructure investments, all of this will do nothing as far as the border issue is concerned or staple visas are concerned?
It doesn't necessarily follow that because you have a strong economic relationship, therefore security issues get automatically resolved. And you have several glaring examples of this. The China-Japan relationship. Japan is heavily invested into China, but we know what the tensions there are in the East China Sea. America and China have a huge economic relationship, but certainly you could say that there is a glaring trust deficit over there. Vietnam likewise has a very strong economic relationship. So the two don't necessarily follow, and if you go back into history and the Napoleonic Wars or even Germany's trading relations with Britain, yes, it doesn't necessarily follow. So we have to look at this in its totality. I agree with Bharat that some of these things are good things. They are packaged well. I mean, the sister city concept really goes back to the 1950s. Yes. If I remember right, Mumbai used to be a sister city of Los Angeles, for example, and so on. But I think it's the packaging over here. But there are 2 or 3 things where I think we could learn. We just saw the Maharashtra Chief Minister talk about infrastructure. Now, infrastructure has to be holistic with end-to-end solutions. You can't build a patch of road and then say, well, I've developed infrastructure, which unfortunately is what we see in some of our border areas. You have to have a systems approach, okay, starting with the trained people, the signaling, the electronics, the safety of the track capacity, the nature of your carriages, and so on and so forth. Okay. India needs to learn from that. Also, there was one interesting thing that I saw here, para 28 of the joint statement on trans-border cooperation regarding border trade. Right. I think this is an area where China has maximized its opportunities with its neighboring countries, with Myanmar, with Thailand, really with all of ASEAN. And I think India is woefully behind. We still talk in terms of regulated lists, which typically in the old days they used to talk of headloads, because that was the concept. And it is all based on local products.
Let's for a moment quickly listen in to Prime Minister Narendra Modi talking about the border issue, because that's one issue that needs to be sorted out now, or can it be left for later? Let's listen in to the Prime Minister before I come to my guests for more on that.
We both reiterated our strong commitment to make all efforts to maintain peace and tranquility in the border region. I found sensitivity to our concerns on these issues and interest in further intensifying confidence-building measures. I also reiterated the importance of clarification of line of actual control in this regard.
Now, India is insisting on peace and tranquility along the line of actual control, a demarcation of the line of actual control, so that makes the situation so much better. Is China holding back on that, Leela Ponappa, as part of a strategy?
I think if you take a look at China's negotiating positions over the past few decades, I have not handled the details of it, but I know enough to say that there have been shifting goalposts. So they keep you guessing. They toy with you. Therefore, at the same time, China has settled its boundaries with virtually every other neighbor. In some cases, on the basis of the very same line that they dispute as far as India was concerned. In fact, I think the first border agreement was with what was then Burma, based on the McMahon line. So it's a question of, is their position tactical, or is it really based on a genuine kind of conviction? I think the thinking here was that at some stage it was possible to have reached some kind of conclusion. A certain degree of progress was made, but even, for example, where you had an agreement on the line of actual control, say in the central sector, the exchange of maps itself became an issue.
Yes.
So if on the one hand you're saying we maintain peace and tranquility on the line of actual control, and you don't know where that line is, what are we talking about? Also, I would differentiate between peace and tranquility. And I would hark back to
incursions.
Well, yes, you see, tranquility really means that you have established peace and you will not have nasty surprises.
But the fact that this time they're specifically talking about Bharat Karna, they're talking about, more border patrols meeting each other, more such posts from 4 to 5, there's an increase. So does all of that help?
Look, they have reduced the entire...
Or a hotline.
Yeah. They have reduced, the Chinese have reduced the entire issue to a tactical theater level problem. Yeah. A tactical problem. It's not really a strategic one. But actually it's a strategic issue. Because if you do not have a defined border, then as Ambassador Ponnappa says, it becomes a variable baseline for negotiations. If you say, well, this is the line, then we talk about all kinds of things to stabilize it. The other thing is, the reason the Chinese are not going to, anytime soon, that I see, agree to any kind of resolution of the border problem is because the more they dangle a solution before Indian governments, the more they have India in check. See, that's the essence of the negotiating strategy, and it's a wonderful negotiating strategy because we play into it. Yeah. Because without our participation the way we do, it wouldn't have worked. So it works because we allow it to work.
What is it that India needs to do in such a situation? We'll talk about that on the other side of a short break. We're also expecting Prime Minister Narendra Modi to reach here at the Xinhua University anytime soon. In fact, indications are that the Prime Minister has just reached. The security personnel are now moving, and the Prime Minister has reached the Xinhua University. Let's listen in. At the Xinhua University, the Prime Minister will be addressing a think tank, he'll be addressing students, and this is a crucial way that China also decides its policy based on the future generation. Why is the Xinhua University so important?
No, I think the Xinhua University is important because it's the premier university. That's where it's like, the écoles in Paris. So most of the civil servants, most of the decision makers, policy makers, come out of Xinhua. And Fudan, one of the 3 or 4 universities in China that produce the elite in China. So that's why it's important.
Your Excellency, Foreign Minister Wang, distinguished guests, faculties, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Today, we are honored to welcome Prime Minister Modi in Xinhua. First of all, on behalf of all of the faculties and the students, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to Prime Minister Modi and all the members of his delegation. Today we also have Foreign Minister Wang Yi and students, teachers, and guests from domestic and abroad. Welcome. China and India enjoy a long history in friendship and history. Prime Minister Modi visited Xi'an, he studied Chinese culture, and he had talked with President Xi Jinping in recent years. Tsinghua University contributed a lot to promote the cultural exchanges between China and India. In the year 2007, the Madam Chairman of the Congress Party, Sonia Gandhi, visited our school and delivered a speech. Our school signed academic cooperation agreements with Indian Institute of Technology, Mumbai and Delhi. In the campus of Tsinghua, we have students and scholars from India. We welcome more and more brilliant young people and scholars to visit Tsinghua, and I'm also looking forward to see more students and teachers from Tsinghua to visit India for study and exchange. Since the establishment of the Tsinghua University, we welcomed more and more leaders from different communities of the world with open mind and global vision. Today we have Prime Minister Modi join us and to give us a speech. Prime Minister was born in 1950 in the Gujarat state. He has served as the Secretary General to the Janata Party and also the Secretary General to the whole country. Since the 2001, he has been the Chief Minister of the state of Gujarat for 13 years. During the 16th election of the 2014, his party won the majority seats. He became the Prime Minister in May 2014. Since Prime Minister Modi took office, he spared a lot of effort to promote the economic reform, and the high-speed growth of the Indian economy has attracted international attention. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to give my time and floor to Prime Minister Modi to give us a speech. Welcome.
Honorable Foreign Minister, Honorable President of the University, Wachan Han Kaoxing.
I'm very happy
In the Tsinghua Tashui. Niman Chued, Woshua Chungwan, Kaibu Kai, Kaima, you are a world-class institution. You are a symbol of success of China's education sector. You are the foundation for China's economic miracle. You have produced great leaders, including President Xi. It is not surprising that China's economic growth and its new leadership in research, science and technology have taken a place together. I particularly like the old Chinese saying, if you think in terms of year, plant a seed. If you think in terms of 10 years, plant a trees. But if you, in terms of 100 years, then teach the people. In India, to the ancient saying is, Vaye krute vardhate eva nityam vidya dhanam sarvadhan pradhanam. the wealth that increases by giving, that wealth is knowledge and is supreme of all possessions. This is one example of how our two nations are united in their timeless wisdom. There is much more, though, that links our two ancient civilizations. I began my journey in China, in Xi'an. In doing so, retraced the footsteps of the Chinese monk Hanstang. He traveled to India from Xi'an in the 7th century in search of knowledge and returned to Xi'an as a friend and chronicler of India. Presidency's visit in India last September started from Ahmedabad. It is not far from Vadnagar, my birthplace, but important because it hosted Huansang and many pilgrims from China. The world's first large-scale educational exchange program took place between India and China during the Tang dynasty. Records talk of about 80 Indian monks coming to China and nearly 150 Chinese monks returning after their education in India. And yes, this was in the 10th and 11th century. Mumbai's rise as a port and a shipbuilding center, each because of cotton trade with China. And those who love silk and textile know that India's famous Tanchoi saris owe themselves to three brothers from my state of Gujarat who learned the art of weaving from Chinese masters in the 19th century. And in an unquestionable evidence of our ancient trade, silk in our classical Sanskrit language is called Shinapatta. So, the centuries-old story of our relations